Everybody,
I should.
our April 25th, 2022 meeting is now called to order. I'm going to ask before we really get started that everybody will silence their cell phones, and if you have to take a call, please step out in the lobby or outside of the building to do that, okay? So we can conduct the business of the city. All right, we're going to continue with invocation by yours truly, and then we've got a special guest here today to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, let us stand for prayer. Let us pray. Gracious God, we come before you today thanking you for another chance, another opportunity to lift you up, to realize that the amazing blessings we have by living in this country. We thank you that we live in a place called the city of Natchitoches that is so beautiful, with great people. We just thank you, God, for looking down upon us. And I thank you that we would handle the business of the city in a way that's decently and in order. We give you glory and praise now. In your son Jesus' name we pray. Amen. 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 Now, our guest today is Natchi Collins Jr. He's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you, NJ. Wonderful job. Awesome. All right, next item on the agenda is the reading and approval of the minutes from our April 11, 2022 meeting.
Mayor, make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the minutes of April 11 and ask for approval of same.
A second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to suspend with the reading of the minutes, and it has been seconded, as I stated. Any comments or questions, council? Okay, any public comments or questions about this particular motion? All right, seeing none. Ms. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item is a proclamation number 33, and that's Councilman Harrington reading.
Resolution number 33 of 2022 is a proclamation declaring May 1st through 7th, 2022 as National Travel and Tourism Week in the city of Natchitoches. Whereas the future of travel will be a consistent driver of Natchitoches economy and workforce. Whereas a robust travel industry has provided significant economic benefits for the nation, generating more than $2.6 trillion in economic output prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, with $1.1 trillion spent directly by travelers in the U.S. And whereas travel spending remained at only 78% of 2019 totals in 2021, a national loss of $60 billion in potential economic impact in 2021 alone. And whereas travel has been the foundation of a healthy workforce, serving as one of the largest private sector employers in the U.S., supporting 17 million jobs in 2019. And whereas the leisure and hospitality industry accounted for 11% of pre-pandemic U.S. employment, but represented a staggering 73% of all jobs still lost in February 2022. Whereas travel is critical to powering our community, the U.S. economy, and American workforce. And whereas travel and tourism dependent businesses and organizations, 83% of which are small businesses, are responsible for welcoming visitors from all around the world to explore Natchitoches and all our state and country have to offer. Whereas visitors to Natchitoches Parish produced nearly $51.6 million in spending in 2020 and generated $3.91 million in state and local taxes. Whereas visitors spending in Natchitoches Parish created $19.81 million in direct earnings and 670 direct jobs in 2020. Whereas overnight occupancy at hotels, motels, bed and breakfasts, and RV parks increased by 28% in 2021 over 2020. Whereas the travel industry cannot recover without the full return of leisure and business travel, as well as meetings and events by both domestic and international visitors. Whereas the rebound of travel will drive the rebuilding of the U.S. economy and American workforce. And whereas the future of travel will continue to revive and grow Natchitoches, Louisiana, and the United States, and drive us forward to a more prosperous future. Therefore, I, Natchitoches Mayor Ronnie Williams, Jr., do hereby proclaim May 1st through 7th, 2022 as National Travel and Tourism Week in the city of Natchitoches, and urge the citizens of Natchitoches to join me in recognizing the critical role this industry plays in Natchitoches. I move to adopt resolution number 33 of 2022.
Second.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. We do have Ms. Arlene Gould, who is here, along with a couple people from her team at the CVB. And I'm sure she has some comments she would like to make. I'm certainly interested in those comments. But these are some really good numbers that Councilman Harrington read from this proclamation for not only the city, but the parish at large. And tourism, as we all know, is really, really important to our economy. And one thing I want us to realize is that it doesn't just happen. We have people like Miss Arlene, like Kelly, and I'm sorry, I forget the other young lady's name. But what's your name, sweetie? Leanna. All right, but they do a phenomenal job along with our other partners in the city as well as the parish to, make sure people are coming here to Natchitoches, spending their dollars here. So again, we appreciate the work you all are doing. We want to allow you to have some comments, Ms. Arlene, and also allow council and also public if there are some questions or comments as well. So please state your first and last name for the record.
Thank you, Mayor. Arlene Gould, and I'm the Executive Director for the Natchitoches Parish Tourist Commission. We operate as the Natchitoches Convention and Visitors Bureau. And like the mayor said, we cannot do what we do without the help of our community partners, our tourism partners. My staff, Kelly West, is Director of Marketing and Communications, and Leanna Coy is our tourism sales manager. So, and then in addition to that, we have 3 part-time travel counselors that greet our visitors at our visitor center on Front Street. So we have a small staff, but we try to make a big impact. Natchitoches is blessed. As we said in the proclamation, we last year had a 28% increase in occupancy taxes over the previous year. And then the year before that, the first year of COVID and the pandemic, Natchitoches was only down at the end of the year about 8% in occupancy tax collections. That's how our office is funded, through hotel occupancy taxes. And for us to only sustain a 8% or a single-digit loss we were very grateful for that. Not too many communities can say that. And I think it's because Natchitoches has such a wonderful community value with the people, and people like coming here to visit. I mean, they come here, you should hear the comments that people come into our office and say how they really enjoy being here. It's not like any other place that they visit. So I want to thank you all, and we look forward to celebrating National Travel and Tourism Week next week, May 1st through the 7th here in Natchitoches. I'll actually be in Baton Rouge representing Natchitoches at the legislative events that they have there for National Travel and Tourism Week with the Lieutenant Governor's office. And so I want to thank you all.
Yeah, Arlene, again, thank you and your staff and for everything you all do to promote tourism in Natchitoches. Wherever you go, I know you're selling Natchitoches. Can you kind of speak a little bit to where some of the people are coming from? This was a remark I heard even at the farmers market on Saturday. We think just the border states, but that's not.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
Last year we had, I think it was 43 states represented in 1 month.
Wow.
In the month of May last year, we had so many visitors in our office. We were so excited, and they came from 43 different states in 1 month. We're starting to see international visitors return. We've had a couple in our office just this week, so we're happy to see the international borders open and our international visitors are returning. But our primary market is Texas and East Texas. It's the closest drive market, but we're seeing them coming from all over. I don't know. I enjoy going home every day at lunchtime and looking at all the license plates from out of state on Front Street. That's kind of my thing when I leave to go home for lunch, as I look at all the out-of-state license plates. And they're coming from Pennsylvania, from Florida, from Georgia, Alaska. They're coming from all over.
And those are the only ones coming in y'all's office.
Right. Yeah, we have a register that when that's one of the first things that we do. It's a shame we don't ask who they are, but we want to know where they're from. We don't ask their names, but we ask them where they're coming from because we want to know if our marketing efforts are paying off in those areas. And we do ask them how did they find out about Natchitoches. So,
Comments or questions, council?
Just
For Ms. Arlene?
thankful to have you guys do what you do, and you do it well, you do it every day. You're out there promoting Natchitoches and bringing people in. If you can get them here, we'll take care of it.
well, that's the main thing is once we get them here is to make sure that they have a good experience
Yep.
and good service. So, again, thanks to all of you all in the community for your help in doing that.
Any public comments, questions? We will. We'll let the vote. I don't know how the council's going to vote on this one. But we'll let the vote take place, and then we'll get a picture, okay?
Okay.
All right? Ms. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
Really glad that passed. All right, come on, Ms. Arlene. And how about Kelly and Leanne? Come on as well. Yeah, come on. Council, y'all want to get into this? Come on.
He normally is in the picture.
Yeah, you're supposed to be in the picture. Just wait, you'll get me back. I'll have a big one to read.
Oh, my gosh. All right, thank you. Thank you, Council, and certainly CVB. We're appreciative of you once again. Moving on to ordinances final. Ordinance number 24, that's Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 24 of 2022, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams, to execute a lease in favor of Mark Milligan of Lot 3 as shown on the airport layout plan of April 12, 1994, and further providing for advertising of the lease and effective date. I so move that ordinance number 24 be adopted.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Ed, would you give us kind of, and then explain as well while you're talking, why we have two different pieces
Yeah,
dealing
this
with
one and
this?
the next one go hand in hand. The city owns all the land at the airport, and the owners of the hangars at the airport, they own the hangar, the structure itself, but in turn, they have to have a land lease from the city. So you can't have one without the other. And this is the land lease portion that goes along with the next ordinance on the agenda.
Okay. Council, any comments or questions about particularly ordinance number 24 at this point?
No.
All right, any public comments or questions? All right, we do have one. And Steve, we're going to give 3 minutes. You got your timer?
I know what 3 minutes up.
We just want to be clear that you know.
Let's keep everything real. Yes, the deal at the airport hangar. Who is buying it? Mark.
Yeah,
You were
Mr.
buying
Lincoln.
it.
And I'm sorry, Mrs. Syed, state your first and last name. I don't think you did.
Carl Size. And hello to my fellow brother, Islam Alega. And I'd like to say I can ask him a few questions, right? Surely I can.
Not from the,
It's your chance to,
Say what?
this is your opportunity to speak about the topic, not ask the question.
Okay, the topic is, okay, let me just approach this a different way. The thing of it is, at the last meeting, when he was awarded the bid for the airport, and let's go back to the former lawyer who said that this man was doing all this sort of events at the airport. And my question is, why do you all want to give a man a hangar at the airport when he have already violated the rules and regulations of the airport? Now, I know that I talked with my fellow council member, and I asked him to excuse himself from voting for this particular, sure did, and he did come by my house. We had a conversation. Now, my thing of it is, what is this man plan for having a hangar when you already done gave? Let me ask the council something right quick. I know I got 3 minutes.
And I'll say this, Mr. Science, we'll allow Mark to have an opportunity to say what he's going to do.
How many people at the airport have 10 years lease? Do anybody know?
Ed,
That's normal when you own a hangar. When you're the actual owner of the building, that's normal.
Okay, well, that's normal. Well, this man is in the process of buying the hangar, or he leasing the hangar at this particular moment. If I'm wrong, you tell me I'm wrong. The hangar itself is at least of 10 years. Now he come back to purchase the hangar, right?
The city, at this moment, the city owns the hangar.
Right. But the city gonna sell the hangar, right?
That's correct.
Okay then. Well, right now.
Mr. Science, your 3 minutes
Yeah,
have
my 3 minutes
elapsed.
up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. But I tell you what, Ed, even as Mr. Science's 3 minutes have ended, you could speak maybe to the process we just went through in terms of the RFP.
Well, maybe I'll come back at the end, because 3 minutes is fine, but it's some other question need to be asked, so.
Okay.
if
Thank you,
the-
sir. Go ahead,
If the
Ed.
council allow.
Yeah, I want to let Ed speak since your time has elapsed at this point,
Yeah,
sir.
but I'm talking about at the end of the meeting.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, the city issued an RFP for the sale of this hangar. It was a surplus hangar to the city that we did not need, did not use. So we issued an RFP, and Mark was the high bidder on the sale of the hangar.
Thanks, Ed. Mr.
Okay.
Milliken, you're here as well. I don't know if you'd like to have any comments about this. I know you're here, but.
Mark Milliken. I own a hangar already at the airport, and I've owned the hangar that I'm getting ready to buy again. I'm happy to buy it from the city, and I just need another place for another airplane. I'd be happy to talk to you after the meeting if you'd like to talk.
Yep.
Mr. Milliken, I have a question. Just to clarify, you already have one hangar, right?
Yes.
You have a plane in that one, so you are going to have a plane in this one as well.
Yes?
And that's all I wanted to clarify, that you will have a plane for it, and...
Yeah, by the way, I have 8 airplanes.
Oh, okay.
So I
didn't
can fill up
know.
both hangars easily.
Okay. And you're spending money, you're spending gas at the airport, you're buying gas there, fuel.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I just wanted to clarify.
Sorry, Mark. Did you state your first and last name? I can't remember.
Yes,
You
Mark
did?
Milliken.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, council? Comments from Mark?
No.
Okay. All right, seeing none. All right, Ms. Stacey, this is on for final. Roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, the motion carries. Next item on the agenda is also related. As Ed explained earlier, this is ordinance number 23 of 2022, and that's Councilman Harrington.
Ordinance number 23 of 2022, an ordinance approving the conveyance of the hangar located on Lot 3 of the Natchitoches Regional Airport to Mark Milliken for the consideration of $41,003, authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches, Ronnie Williams, to execute a bill of sale on behalf of the city for the conveyance of the hangar and to execute any and all other related documents that might be necessary and proper to provide for advertising and a savings clause. This was introduced previously. I move to adopt ordinance number 23 of 2022.
Okay, council? Oh, I'm sorry.
A second.
There we go. Motion's made and seconded. Do we have any comments or questions? I think Ed kind of explained it when he talked about this is just, they're typically two separate ordinances when we have, you know, a hangar being sold to someone. Comments or questions, council, about this one? All right, any public comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries as well. Ordinance number 28 of 2022, that's Councilwoman at Large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 28 of 2022 is an ordinance amending and restating ordinance number 40 of 2022, approving the terms and form of a cooperative endeavor agreement between the City of Natchitoches and the Community Facade and Economic Enhancement Committee, and authorizing the mayor to execute the cooperative endeavor agreement, CEA, between the City of Natchitoches and the Community Facade and Economic Enhancement Committee, which will provide for facade grant program for Texas Street and Washington Street corridors. And this was introduced on April 11 and published in the Natchitoches Times on April 14, 2022, and I move for adoption of ordinance number 28 of 2022.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. I think we gave some explanation a couple weeks ago, council, as to why we're seeing this again. The thought that it would be better run through a nonprofit as opposed to NETA. So, again, this has been before the council before, but really trying to go ahead and get this program, you know, make it a reality tentatively, the beginning of the new fiscal year, June 1 is when we're hoping to allow those businesses on Texas Street and Washington Street to apply for these grant dollars to improve the facade, whether it's signage, whether it's paint, doors, things of that nature. Some of those things are spelled out in the application, which unfortunately I don't have with me on today. But are there any comments or questions, council? Okay. Are there any public comments or questions? Yes, sir, Mr. Carl.
Yes, Carl Size. And I'd like to ask a question. The money that gonna be generated for the business on Texas Street
And Washington, sir.
and Washington Street. I noticed that up at the washateria on Texas Street, which is 312 Texas Street, nobody have not gave any type of, what type of business that gonna be up there and everything else. And the serious question I wanna ask is, if you work for the city, are you allowed to get any of this fund from the city government?
This particular business would not apply for facade grant just because don't want any issue, anything like that. Yeah, this business won't apply for the facade grant.
It just, if you work for the city, it just don't comply with you all.
Do you have a specific, I don't know what I just told you
I'm
that this
talking
business is
about,
not going to.
the, matter of fact, I asked the lawyer the last time, and he had said that, which I had the address kind of off balance, but I didn't, which was 310, and the true address is 312. And Nicole Gray and Mark Lewis own that establishment. and she is a city employee. So I was asking, are she entitled to get any of these funds?
And I think I said very clearly that that particular business is not going to apply for those funds. So that means they're not going to get any.
Okay then, well, that's all I need to know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next, we've got a couple ordinances for introduction. The first one is read by Councilman Nielsen. It's ordinance number 29 of 2022. Go ahead,
Thank you,
Councilman.
Mayor. Ordinance number 29 of 2022, an ordinance adopting the millage rate for the tax year 2022. Be it ordained that the following millages are hereby levied on the 2022 tax roll on all properties subject to taxation by the city of Natchitoches. Public safety millage, 10 mills. General alimony tax, 7.03 mills, for a total millage of 17.03 mills. Be it further ordained that the proper administrative officials of the parish of Natchitoches, state of Louisiana, being they are hereby empowered, authorized, and directed to spread said taxes as herein above set forth upon the assessment roll of said parish for the year 2022, and to make the collection of the taxes imposed for and on behalf of the taxing authority according to law, and that the taxes herein levied shall become a permanent lien and privilege on all property taxes subject to taxation as herein set forth, and collection thereof shall be enforceable in the manner provided by law. Be it further ordained that cognizance is taken that by the City Council that this ordinance was introduced on the 25th day of April 2022 and published in the Natchitoches Times. Be it further ordained the foregoing ordinance was read in full, and this is for introduction.
All right, Ms. Clarissa, would you give us an explanation as to what this really means?
Yeah, so this is just the property taxes going into the new year. There's no changes because we roll forward in 2020, so we won't assess the taxes again until 2024. So they're staying the same as they were last year. So it's just to go ahead and adopt that rate again for this year.
Okay, comments or questions, council? Again, this is your introduction. Any public comments or questions about this? Okay, all right, seeing none, we'll just move on to the next item on the agenda, which is item number 30, ordinance number 30 of 2022. That's Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 30 of 2022, the ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches to award the bid for the caustic soda for the water treatment plant, bid number 064. And it's basically, something that they do yearly, and I'll let Mr. Matt explain.
That's correct.
Yeah, this is to bid out our caustic soda. It's what we use at the water treatment plant to adjust and control our pH. And we bid it out, every 6 months?
Every 6 months.
Yep. So this is nothing new to us, what we've got to do. I know last time we talked about the insane increase in prices. Are we still seeing some of that, or we don't know yet?
It was pretty flat this time. We were surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it was very close from last time.
Okay. You said pretty
We
close?
want it to go down,
Right.
but it didn't go up.
It didn't go
went
up.
just a
What-
fraction of a penny.
What was it pre-COVID? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly, but it was about half of what it is
About
now.
11 cents?
It was about
or-
11 cents, yeah.
Yeah.
So certainly costing us more now, as we're seeing a lot of those consumer products as well. Okay. Any public comments or questions about this? You got a question about this one?
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
What's your name?
Matt Anderson?
Yeah, call size. Let me ask, maybe he can answer also. On the Johnson Shoot Road, at the last meeting, we talked about, the pipes and everything and the money that would take and how they gonna come in and pay their part and everything. Do you know how far that the pipes have already in place at Johnson Shoot before it get to Powhatan?
Are you asking me where the pipes stop towards Powhatan?
Yeah, I mean, what I'm asking you, when y'all put the other water lines in, do you know where those pipes stopped at? I know Powhatan gonna pay their part of it, and the city gonna pay.
Well, it's all grant. So the water line to Powhatan is 100% grant,
Okay,
other than the administrative fee,
okay.
which is the engineering and insurance and things.
So the pipes have already been ran on Johnson Shoot?
There are pipes on Johnson Chute, yes, sir, but there will be going back to the intersection of Highway 1 and 3191 is where they'll pick up the feed to Powhatan.
Okay, all right. Good enough.
All right, any other public questions or comments? Okay, again, this is just for introduction, so it'll be voted on our next meeting on May 9th. All right, next item, I'd like to ask a member of the council to motion to take ordinance number 21 of 2022 from the table.
Mayor, I make a motion to take ordinance number 21 off the table,
Second.
the agenda.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Any comments, questions, council, about this before we put it to a vote? Any public comments or questions at this point? Okay, and Matt, just briefly explain to us why we tabled it last time, and just kind of give us a little bit of
When we
backstory.
introduced it last time, CLECO had made a conditional offer, and then when we got, I guess, down to the nuts and bolts of it to hash out all the details, there were some changes, and it just took time to make those changes. So we weren't ready the next council meeting to vote on it. Just took a little more time to get the contract where everybody was happy.
Yep.
So we tabled it, now we're ready.
So now we're ready. All right, okay. Roll call vote?
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. It is off the table. Now we've got it back, open for discussion. And this is, as we said, ordinance number 21, as Councilman PT set to read it.
Thank you, Mayor Williams. Ordinance number 21 of 2022, an ordinance accepting and approving the power supply agreement for sale of power and energy between CLECO Power LLC and the City of Natchitoches, Louisiana, and authorizing the mayor to execute the power supply agreement on behalf of the city. Whereas the city provides transmission and distribution services within and without the city limits. Whereas the city and CLECO Power LLC has negotiated the power supply agreement, which said agreement has been reviewed and approved by the city, and said agreement is attached here too. Whereas the city council believes that the said power supply agreement is in the best interest of the city, and further agrees that the power supply agreement should be accepted. Now therefore be it ordained by the city council in legal session convened that the power supply agreement for sale of power and energy between CLECO Power LLC and the City of Natchitoches be, and the same is hereby approved.
All right. And again, this is introduction, so no vote on it today, but got any questions, comments, council, about ordinance number 21?
Just a question. Matt, if you would, could you tell us what the agreement amount is?
The agreement we settled with was, it's .0051 cents per kWh, and that is down from .0054. So a little bit of savings there. We're happy to say, going into this, we thought with the price of everything, natural gas and everything else, that we were going to we'll get a contract that was actually much higher, but this one is slightly lower. And then the demand charge that we pay to CLECO is per kilowatt. It went from $5.50 70 cents per KW to $5.50 per KW. So a little savings on energy, a little savings on capacity. Now, the big unknown going forward is, with any energy contract, is the fuel. You know, we all see that on our electric bill. You have a energy charge and a fuel charge. So the fuel charge is all based off of natural gas prices. So that fluctuates from month to month. And what we've seen past 6 months is very high, and that's nationwide. But the energy charge we're paying from CLECO is actually going down. So consumers will see a slight, a slight decrease in the energy charge. Now, the fuel charge will continue to fluctuate.
Okay, thank you, Matt.
And just full disclosure, of course, Matt is working very closely whenever the power contract comes up. And this is a 3-year contract we're dealing with. Attorney Washington was on those calls. I think Ed joined us for some calls as well. But I do want to say we have an attorney who specializes in these power contracts, and Mr. Kirk Betts. I think he's based in D.C. So he analyzed, I believe we received 5 offers. Is that
We
right?
sent out 6 RFPs and received 4.
Received 4. And so again, those, Kirk was doing it along with Matt, and then Alex was reading as well. Ed did his comment. So just kind of want to let you know who we had, who was looking at this, and we did have somebody who does this all the time, Mr. Betts, and so we pay him a fee to do it.
In fact, Mayor, I believe Kirk Betts been doing it for some time, probably.
Right, Matt, he's been doing it.
I think he's been
no
doing it for
rookie.
the city for 25 years.
Right.
And even longer.
Good.
He's probably been doing it 40 years, I believe.
And
Yep.
I think this is a good time. I want to bring up, and I think Alex would appreciate me bringing this up, because some people make comments, why do you have this attorney who does this? And this attorney part that you hired just to do this? Attorneys are like doctors. And I'm an attorney, you specialize in areas. You don't go to a pediatrician to do open heart surgery, you're going to die, most likely. And so,
You have to use the
if
pediatrician.
you got me to negotiate power contracts, are you kidding me? I wouldn't have a clue what I'm doing. So you have attorneys who specialize in these areas. That's why that guy's in Washington, D.C. He does it all over the nation. That's a very specialized field. So there's attorneys, we have our main city attorney, and then we have specialized attorneys that if we need them, we use them. They're not being paid all the time. It's just only for need basis only. So I want to clarify that, because I get that. I get asked that a lot, so I just want to put it out there.
I'm glad you clarified that, because I get asked that question a lot, and they think it's a continuance payment, but
right,
it's not. It's
no.
on a contingency basis.
That's
and-
right.
And needs to be understood.
Good points. All right. I think we already offered any questions. All right. Good. Thank you all. Okay. Next item on the agenda, we actually have some resolutions, and we have resolution number 34. That's Councilwoman at Large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 34 of 2022 is a resolution designating Friday, June 17, 2022, as an official holiday for the employees of the city of Natchitoches in observation of Juneteenth. Whereas Juneteenth, National Independence Day, is a U.S. federal holiday signed into law by President Joe Biden on Thursday, June 17, 2021. And whereas in 2021, Governor John Bell Edwards signed a bill making Juneteenth a legal state holiday. And whereas the new law designated the 3rd Saturday in June as Juneteenth, and whereas starting in 2022, all state offices will be closed the Friday preceding that Saturday. And whereas Juneteenth is the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States, and whereas Major General Gordon Granger landed at Galveston, Texas, with news that the war had ended and that the enslaved were now free. And whereas, though the Emancipation Proclamation was signed into law and became official on January 1st, 1863, slaves in the state of Texas had not heard of the news until 2.5 years later, on June 19th, 1865. Whereas people celebrate Juneteenth by eating barbecue, shooting fireworks, gathering at a cookout, shopping at Black-owned businesses, sharing history, and sipping on red drinks, a tradition that symbolizes perseverance and honors the blood that was shed of African Americans. And whereas Juneteenth is a day that should be recognized by all Americans and a day that reminds us of our incredible capacity to heal, hope, and emerge from our darkest moments with purpose and resolve. And whereas the Mayor and Natchitoches City Council wish to declare Friday, June 17, 2022, as an official city holiday. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Mayor Ronnie Williams Jr. that Friday, June 17, 2022, shall be declared an official holiday for the city Natchitoches employees in observation of Juneteenth. And Mayor, I move for adoption of resolution number 34 of 2022.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. The resolution pretty much reads, with what we're trying to do here is a local holiday for Juneteenth, which is that Friday before. So as it states, June 19th is the day that the slaves in Galveston, Texas learned of the news. 2.5 years late, really because there was not a great presence of Union soldiers in Texas. Texas was the, how should I say it, most westward Confederate state, and just didn't have a lot of Union presence there. So that speaks to some of the delay as to why, 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was actually signed. So just to say, let's take this day as long as they're doing on the federal level and the state level. They kind of did it last minute last year. So this year we wanted to make sure we were early with it, and certainly had to get council approval to do it. And, if council so approves, there are some things we would like to have for that day and even the next day, which is June 18th. So any comments or questions, council?
Just hope the city come out and support the events that's going on starting at Friday.
Yep.
Do we have some?
Yeah, we do. We were meeting on Friday with Kevin and some others. We were a basketball event, if you will, for a few hours at one of our local school gyms. Of course, you know that right now, the MLK Rec Center, unfortunately, has the presence of black mold, that we're trying to mitigate that. And so I know some people are interested in that, and we'll provide updates as we have them. But so basketball event, we'll say, if not a full-blown tournament, but also on that Saturday. Some of the things that are mentioned here, fireworks, food trucks. They didn't mention food trucks, but food trucks to provide food on the riverbank, music. So just things of that nature on that Saturday evening, looking at a 5 to 9 event. Anybody can come out, enjoy some good music. Looking for some local talent. Of course, with anything, you want to build upon it. Rome wasn't built in a day, but yeah, but those are some of the things we're planning. I think there may be a flyer later on, and certainly there'll be some advertisements on our local city, Go Natchitoches app and social media, our publications that we have here locally as well.
And I want to say also, some city members are planning an event
Right.
that Friday down on MLK. So asking the city to come out and support us, to be from 5 until 8 o'clock, and just want everyone to join in as much as possible, starting at 5 that Friday, which is the 17th.
Right, thank you so much for that. Any public comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote, Ms. Stacy.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item on the agenda is resolution number 35. That's Councilwoman Washington Eli.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 035, of 2022, the resolution supporting for the grant application submitted to the Louisiana Office of Community Development for 2001 and 2002 Local Government Assistance Program. Whereas the Local Government Assistance Program assisting unit local government with the funding for the need of the infrastructure and the long-term capital improvement. And whereas the Natchitoches Fire Department is in critical need of the life savings equipment and desire to submit an application for the 2001-2002 Local Government Assistance Program. Now there to be resolved that the City of Natchitoches offers its full support of the grant application submitted by the Natchitoches Fire Department to the Louisiana Office of the Community Development for the 2001 and 2002 Local Government Assistance Program. And I move to adopt resolution number 35 of 2022.
Before second, I will second, before I would like to amend that to read 2021 through 2022.
What I say?
2001.
2021? Oh.
It's 2021.
Thank you,
in all of the
Councilman Lodge.
readings, so.
2021 and 2022, the Local Government Assistance Program. Thank you for that.
Now second.
Okay, thank you, ladies, for that. Again, this is just giving our support to, for this grant application. It says generally fire protection, so don't have the specifics, but obviously we want to do what we can to keep the residents safe when there happens to be a fire here. And so I don't know if there are any questions or comments, Council? Any public comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. All right, last item on the agenda is resolution number 36 of 2022, and that's Councilman Nielsen.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 36 of 2022 is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute change order number 1 to the contract between the City of Natchitoches and DSW Construction for building renovations at Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot, and it's bid number 0627. Whereas the City of Natchitoches awarded the bid to DSW on November 22nd, 2021 by ordinance number 56 of 2021 in the amount of $868,893 for building renovations at Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot. And whereas on April 20, 2022, contractor issued change order number 1, fully described in attachment A, and whereas the contract sum will be increased by this change order number 1 in the amount of $61,590.62, and the revised contract total will be $930,483.62, and whereas the contract time will be increased by 35 days from date of approval for all items, and whereas the project engineer, Bob Kemps, has recommended this change order, and whereas the city is of the opinion that change order number is in the best interest of the city. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the City of Natchitoches in legal session convened that the Honorable Ronnie Williams, Jr., Mayor, being is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to execute the reference change order number 1 to the agreement between the City of Natchitoches and the contractor DSW Construction. And I move that we adopt resolution number 36 of 2022.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Before we open the floor for questions from the council or from the public, want Randy Lacasse to explain that for us, okay?
New name.
I'll answer it to Randall also. Mayor, while we were trying to more or less save the depot, we put a partial membrane roof on in around 2005. Had a 15-year warranty, so any warranties expired a little over 2 years ago. When Bob Kempkes is doing the plans, we had to assume that we wouldn't have anything too major because you could not get access to a lot of the areas of the roof and above the ceiling. So until we did demolition, very hard to tell to what extent we had a problem when we had a couple of leaks. So once they did the demolition phase, it was obvious that we had a more extensive issue, and you can't afford to spend $800,000 on the interior and have any kind of water encroachment or leakage. I've got a stack of pictures I'd be happy to pass around so everyone can see to the extent that the damage of roof decking and some of the rafters. And so this really is what it's going to take to repair it. I might note too, his first takeoff was several $1,000s higher, and we asked them to reconsider, and they did so and reduce the actual final amount by a little over $2,000. I think it's something that's necessary that we have to do, and would appreciate the council's support of it. Now, I'm going to hand these pictures to Rosemary, if you're welcome, just pass that down so everybody can see what it looks like.
Even as those are coming, Council, I don't know if you've got a question about this that Randy can answer. Ed has some knowledge as well, so.
I just have one question. Is this going to be from the grant money that we have or from the city's funds?
This is actually initially advanced with the city funds, but we're structuring basically a financing package that will replace the general fund revenue. Mr. Washington has been working with Citibank on that, and when we're through and we see what total costs are, in effect, we will put those funds back in the general fund, and we'll let the lease, the 20-year lease payments retire the entire debt.
Thank you.
Ed, you had a comment?
No, I agree. We need to make the repair because there's no sense doing all the interior work if you're going to have rainwater get inside and ruin what some of the areas in the interior. So it's something that needs to be done. And just so you'll know, this roof is called a Duralast roof. It's a heavy-duty roof. It's the same roof that's on the flat portions next door at the event center.
That's where?
The
Same
event
roof
center.
at the event center?
Yeah, same roof that is next door on the event center.
And they don't have mold yet, so it's good.
No, that one's good.
Although our guys haven't started looking at that, right, necessarily.
Yeah,
They
the
look
event
bad.
center's already gone through its environmental
Okay.
inspection. It's okay.
Would imagine.
Okay. Any other questions about ordinance resolution 36 of 2022?
No.
Okay, public comments or questions? Yes, sir.
Car size. As a boy growing up in Natchitoches, I always know where the train station was. Right over here, off Lee Street, actually Martin Luther King. I never been inside of that building to tell you what it looked like. I'm 66 years old, never been inside of the train station to actually know. I remember as a boy, the train would stop there. I never seen anybody load the train or get on the train because it wasn't a passenger train. Probably way back then it was. But the thing of it is, what would this building be used for?
It's a museum.
It's gonna be a museum. What, as a museum, I know we have a museum downtown, which is a sports museum. What type of museum would this be? A culture of all pictures, but y'all have certain criteria that y'all gonna allow to come in and everything else? Because I remember one time they wanted to do a Black Heritage deal on that. And Southern University in Baton Rouge have 3 buildings full of African pictures and everything else. And whenever this is completed and everything else, and y'all decide to, I appreciate some of you all go down to Southern and look at some of the material that they have, because they was willing to bring it and donate it to the city, but the money didn't work out at the particular time under Sylvia Morrow and everything else, so bingo.
Okay.
I
Thank
agree
you, sir.
with you, Mr. Sines. But there will be some Black artwork in there, from my understanding. So I hope we get quite a few, put it
Yeah,
that
well,
way.
just deal with Southern University, they have it all. Thank you.
And I'll just say this more as a blanket reminder, just in conversation with Rebecca Blankenbaker, who has been intimately involved, as well as Carrie Mardoff with the National Park Service, as well as some people on city staff. But the museum will depict the African-American experience of Natchitoches and Cane River. The park downriver at Oakland and Magnolia explores experiences from slavery to sharecropping and tenant farming. The depot will discuss topics of segregation, civil rights, and the Great Migration to larger cities. So that's pretty much what type of exhibits and history that'll be conveyed in the depot. All right? Okie dokie.
Would you like a tour of the building one day? Mrs. Sines, would you like a tour of the building one day?
Sure, I would love to.
We'll make that happen for you.
Pretty interesting.
It really is.
You know, like I say, as a child growing up, I've seen it as going to the swimming pool. I've seen the train, I heard the train, and a lot of kids have never toured that building, never know what the inside looked like.
And I'll say this, Ed's been chronicling pictures for us as the project is going, and so we want to, of course, we'll put that story on social media, the process of the remodel, but also maybe try to come up with a presentation as well with those images. Okay? We asked the questions. Roll call vote, Ms. Stacy.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Peachy,
Yes.
All righty, that motion carries. Our next meeting, as we stated earlier, is May 9th. Farmers Market started on Saturday, and I think we had a really good turnout. They had a theme under Randy's department, Fluttering on the Bricks. This theme would be Teach Me How to Fish, I think. Isn't that right?
You talking about this next time?
Yeah, Saturday's theme.
Yes.
It's going to be dealing with fishing. And I think they've got some cool things to give away to youth. So from 8, it's 8 to 12, right, Randy?
Yes, sir.
8 to 12, please come out. We'll try to dial up some good weather again, right? Like we were able to have on Saturday. But certainly come out to that. I think we've had the most vendors, and they say even more vendors coming this Saturday. So support that, including some local folks. We're going to have Mother's Day in between, so certainly want to say if I don't see you, we don't see you. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers who certainly make a great impact in our lives. And we always encourage you to download the Go Natchitoches app. That's where you can stay informed about what's going on in the city of Natchitoches, Northwestern State, the greater parish. So again, please download that and talk to people, convince other people to do that as well. Regroup in case of a disaster. We got messages for you. Is that all we have, Steve? All right. We do have our first annual Juneteenth festival or celebration, if you will, 17th through the 18th basketball tournament, or we'll call it basketball event, is what it's kind of evolved into on June 17th. Probably going to be something 10 in the morning until. And then festival day, if you will, is going to be June 18th Now, again, June 19th is actually Juneteenth, but that's on a Sunday, so we'll celebrate that Friday, which is the official day for federal and state, and then that Saturday, like we said, be on the lookout for artists. Like we said, there's going to be food trucks, a kids zone area, fireworks. All of that is being planned, but wanted to make sure we let everybody know about that, okay?
June 19th is also Father's Day.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Father's Day, June 19th, good point. All right, at this particular time, hear a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, yes, ma'am.
Before,
That's a shame. When we have a program.
We're working with a local school gym to solidify that, given the MLK is going to be shut down during that period because of the presence that I stated earlier.
before we close, I want to ask Kevin if he can tell us, have they started construction on the building, or when will they, and how long it will take, anticipate, MLK building?
I'll speak on it. They have not started. Ed may know a little bit more about the RFP process.
The RFP has been written, but we're still waiting on approval from the state with the grant folks before I can actually release it. But I did look at the advertisement today, and once we get clearance to release it, we'll start advertising.
Okay, thank you.
And that's about trying to get some more grant funds to cover the
That's
additional
correct.
work. Yep. The other thing I wanted to say, May 6th is the deadline for the youth summer opportunity, so that could be done online, or a student 16 to 18 can obtain an application from City Hall. Okay?
I have a question, I'm sorry, Mayor. I have a few parents had came to me, the ones that's autistic. Would they have anything that they capable of to do, like the rec or the Boys and Girls Club? Are they able to go over there and, because I have like 7 parents that came to me about their kids, but they're capable of learning, hands-on.
Yeah, what I've said is as long as they're capable of working, from anywhere. I know there's some office duties that some of our departments would, like some work, some help during the summer. Of course, there'll be some litter cleanup. There'll be, if they're 18 and older, weed eater, they could operate those type of equipment if they're that age. So yeah, there'll be a variety of duties. As long as they're capable of working, we're certainly not discriminating against anybody.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
I think it's a great opportunity for the young folks to have something to do this summer and keep them
Yes.
very active, as well as learn a skill and earn a pay.
Right.
I think it's a great program.
Yep, it is indeed a
is.
paid position.
Yeah.
And, okay, there are other opportunities as well with the school system in terms of just summer learning opportunities. Also, the Boys and Girls Club is back this summer for the first time in a few years. So we're excited about them too. Certainly council, once again, that wouldn't have happened without your support, and we know others as well throughout the community, but your support was certainly vital in that. All right? Okay, thank you all for tonight. At this time, we'll hear a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you.